Hey, good afternoon, fam. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Listen, I just want to drop in real quickly, right, and have a conversation with you guys. Especially, I dropped a video, I believe it was Monday or maybe Sunday, one of those days. And that video right now is actually catching traction. As a matter of fact, no, I think that video was probably last Friday. Yeah, I think it was last Friday, but it's catching traction right now. And the title of that video, I believe, is "You Shouldn't Buy a Home Unless You're Married," right? And a lot of people are commenting on it, right? But one individual in particular is the reason why I want to do this content. I mean, this video right now, because I believe that a lot of people are highly misinformed in reference to, these whole life policies and IUL. So the gentleman said that so one of my clients right now has an IUL with me for the past probably almost 10 years or so, and she's paying $400 a month. And the gentleman said that paying $400 a month for a life insurance policy is a scam. Just that statement alone let me know that this individual does not understand how life insurance works. See, most people just think they hear life insurance and they immediately just think somebody's dying, right? Life insurance is so much more than that. And I had to break it down to him that there are different types of life insurance and it's used for different things, okay? And then he asked me the question that, well, if the person is paying $400 a month and they have $80,000 in the policy, if they die, does the insurance company keep the money? And that's a two-part question, because in a sense, he's right. There is something called level, okay? And again, it's the conversation that you have with your agent. See, most agents don't understand how these policies work. As a matter of fact, most agents don't even last no more than 6 months or so. And the one that do last for a long time, they're not even full time. They're like part time, because they just don't make it in the business. They never took it as a business. They just took it as a side hustle, as a way to make like side income. So I have to explain to them, there's something called level. With level, if your policy is structured as level, and let's say, for example, your policy is $500,000, and then you're paying, for example, let's say $400 a month, and money is going into your cash value accruing for you. And let's say, God forbid, you pass away, let's say 10 years later, and let's say you had $80,000 in there. Your family will get $500,000. The insurance company will keep the $80,000. Well, why is that? Because when you structure your policy at level, you probably pay next to nothing in fees. Okay, level is there for the person who don't really care about the life insurance death benefit themselves, but they're trying to use the policy for the benefit of the policy of what the IRS allows, which is a way to put money away and avoid paying taxes and still make pretty decent return. So you have some people who probably don't have children. You have some people, I've met a lot of clients who it literally would take, like, because you cannot write the application without having some form of beneficiary. And some people don't really have people who they want to leave their policy to. This is real talk. Some people will just, find somebody or just say, you know what, just give it to this person. I don't really care anyway. They open the policy because they don't want to fund the 401k, because I had a lady 2 years ago. I'm gonna give an example, prime example. 2 years ago, In 2008, between 2008 and 2012, she lost almost half of her 401k value because the market crashed. And she said she never wanted to do that again. So she kind of never really contributed to any real investment savings after that. She still has a job. She contributing about 3%. Before she was doing roughly, I think it was like maybe 18 or 20%. Now she's only doing 3%, which is whatever the company's matching. That's how much she matches up to. No problem. So when she was referred to me, she loved the idea of it because with the life insurance policy, whatever negative impact is going on in the market, it doesn't affect your policy. As a matter of fact, when people are losing value in their investments, life insurance policy is still gaining interest return. You're still making money because it's a floor you cannot go below. Some companies 2%, some companies 1%, some companies 0.75, depending on the company. But there's a floor. You cannot go negative in the IUL. And she loved that idea. At the same time, you also participate in the growth of the market, but with a cap, obviously. So if the market goes up to 20%, some companies you'll be capped at 15% or 13.75. It depends. You understand? But on the average, though, the market itself, on the average, I've really returned about 6 or 7% on the average. Most life insurance policy are actually outpacing market return. That's what a lot of people don't know. That's what the media and these people that tell you get 401k, get IRA, they won't tell you. Okay? So that's level. People who get level most of the time are getting the policy for the benefits that's allowed to them, which means I don't have to pay taxes when I pull the money out. I don't have to worry about a stock market effect. And at the same time, I also have access to living benefits. God forbid something or some illness happens to me. Okay? So that's what's called level. So when you structure your policy as level, it will allow you to earn the most amount of return because the fees are less. Now, there's something called increasing. It's an increasing option. Increasing option, if you pass away and let's say you had 80 grand in there and your policy is 500,000, your family is entitled to the whole amount. So now your family gets $580,000. That's called increasing. Okay? In most cases, with increasing, the growth is most of the time not going to outpace a level structured policy, because the level structured policy is solely for the fact that I want to make money, period. I don't care what happened to the life insurance once I'm out of here. I don't care. I just want to make money so that way when I hit retirement, I have money to live off of. And then you have some people who say, you know what? If something happened to me, I want my family to get the whole thing. So every client is different. You understand? But either way you go, there is no product that's out there that's going to beat or outperform a IUL. It's just none. If you think about it, let's look at the 401k, for example. The 401k is stacked with so many fees. Ridiculous amount of fees is what the 401k comes with. On top of that, there's a stock market effect. If the market goes down, you could lose your life savings. Okay? Ultimately, once you hit retirement, when you hit the age of 59 and a half, you're allowed to touch it and the 10% penalty goes away, but you still have to pay taxes. What's a 10% penalty? The 10% penalty is an early withdrawal fee. So if you touch the money before 59 and a half, there's a 10% penalty. Okay? Now, along with that, there's a stipulation with you getting your money out in the 401k. Most of the time, though, if you're under the age of 59 and a half, The only way you can access your 401k is if you're buying your first home, okay? Not your second, not your third. If you're buying your first home, you're able to pull money out for a down payment or whatever, okay? Next, you have a dire situation, foreclosure, eviction, something like that. Then you're able to touch it. Or somebody's dying, okay? Outside of that, you are not allowed to touch your 401k until you're the age of 59 and a half. Now, during COVID, they were allowing people to access it, okay? But I think it's back to normal now, okay? So, those are the stipulations. The same thing with the IRA. You're not allowed to touch the IRA unless you're 59 and a half, okay? The IRA is taxable too once you start to withdraw income, okay? It's just so many stipulations that you have in all these other financial vehicles. Life insurance, the IUL, has no such stipulations at all. It's like the greatest thing. Like, it's almost illegal. It's almost, for the fact that this product exists, it's crazy to me. People run away from the thing that is best for them. I find that very, very it's like, for example, people would rather eat sweets than vegetables. And vegetables are good for your health. Sweets is bad for your health. So you run away from vegetables. Okay? Okay? People run away from the things that is best for them. These IUL is probably the best thing since sliced bread because it covers all bases. Okay? Base number one, God forbid something happens to you, your family get a death proceed. Base number two, you're in retirement, you start to pull income stream out, you pay no taxes. Okay? Number three, if you fall sick, there's something called living benefits. So with things like cancer, heart attack, stroke, dementia, renal failure, you're able to access your death benefit up to 90% with some companies. And that's huge because I'm gonna give you an example. One of my good friends that I went to school with, we just found out that he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I've been trying to get him a policy now for the past 8 years. He's been ducking me. I saw him last year and I said, hey, you ready for that policy? Oh, I'll give you a call. Okay. Recently, I found out that he's stage 4 cancer, pancreatic cancer, right? Now, why is the living benefits important in this conversation? If he had a policy, for example, let's say the policy was $500,000. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I've been told stage 4 pancreatic cancer is bad and there's no coming back from it. Other people have told me that you can actually come back from it. You just have to totally change the way you eat, your lifestyle. I don't know. But if he had a $500,000 policy and he has access to 90% of that $500,000, he can now pull out $400,000. Cash money, tax-free. And he could use that money to possibly get better treatment. Okay? Or if let's say he's not going to make it, he can now use that money to pay off whatever debts that he has left over. So his children, because the gentleman has multiple kids, okay, his children can have all the things that he's built, can pass on to their children. He can also take that money and travel the world and live his best life. You understand? To me, if you have something like that, that gives you the option to save your life. Because again, he can go overseas and see other doctors that might be able to treat him. Who knows? You kind of never know. So this is what the IUL covers. That a 401k is not going to cover, a IRA is not going to cover, a mutual fund is not going to cover, an annuity is not going to cover. Okay? So To recap, there are a couple of ways you can structure your life insurance policy. One is level. And again, level just means I'm not really too concerned about the death benefit in a way. I'm more getting this policy because of the benefits that the IRS allows in this policy. That's why I'm getting it, okay? So whatever happens to me at the end, I don't care. I just want money I just want to maximize the amount of money that I'm able to build and live off of. Then you do level, because the fees are extremely lower in the level. Because ultimately at the end of the day, the insurance company know they'll recoup their fee later on. Okay? So the client now can make the most amount of money they want to make in that policy. As a matter of fact, in that scenario, to be honest with you, it's actually a win-win for the client, especially that client is one of those people that live a long life. You understand? If one of those clients are people that lived into their 90s or whatever. So let's say, for example, they accumulated, let's say it was a 35-year-old, they did a level policy. And that policy accumulated up to, let's say, $1 million by the time they are 65 years old. And this client ended up living to 95. And they live off of that money to the very end. Let's say $5,000 is left. Well, at that point, the life insurance company will only walk away with $5,000, and then the family still get a half a $1,000,000 policy. I mean, I don't I don't know how you cannot say that that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. You understand? So at the end of the day, I think people just need a better understanding of these particular products. And I know there are a lot of agents. It's a little bit complex, but I don't really think it's too complex like that. But a lot of agents kind of stay away from it because they don't understand it. Okay? And they don't want to take the time out to understand it. So they stay away from it. But it's the best thing that you can have for yourself in reference to a financial portfolio. Nothing that's around can beat it. Absolutely nothing. And anybody can check me on this. I am open to have a conversation with you. Okay? Name me one product. Not real estate, not a mutual fund, not a stock option, nothing. Okay? And then you have increasing. Increasing means something happens to me, I want my family to get every single penny in my policy. And those are the two options that you have when it comes to structuring your policy. But this gentleman, I'm almost willing to bet that the policy he has is from a particular company that tell people to buy term and invest the difference. The company that don't believe in whole life policy. I think y'all might know who I'm talking about. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, they are absolutely wrong. The wealthy people don't buy term policies. I'm just let you know that right now. Wealthy people do not buy term policies. They buy permanent cash value policies. Why, do you ask? Because of the tax benefit. What are most wealthy people concerned about? Taxes. Taxes. Taxes is what's going to rob you of your wealth. Period. That's the number one thing that would take away majority of your wealth is taxes. Okay? So you're not going to see a wealthy person buying a term policy. That's a waste of money to them. That's a waste of money. Okay? So I want to reach out and give you guys a little bit of understanding from that conversation. And I hope the gentleman watch this video once I upload it so that way he can have a better education in reference to, why this makes sense. As a matter of I did a video a while back, probably about a month and a half ago maybe. Listen, if every athlete, every musician, entertainer, these people who make significant amount of money throughout their lifetime, if all these people had an IUL and they funded it while they were in their prime doing their thing, they will absolutely never, ever, ever, ever be broke. Ever. Okay? But their financial advisor will never steer them towards the life insurance policy because they cannot make good money from selling them a life insurance policy. You understand? When they have these advisors, when they get their clients to get their financial products, they're making 1%, sometimes 2% off of that portfolio. So essentially they're gonna end up making millions. So they'd rather do that than to make a couple of thousands of dollars and do the right thing. There's a video I saw out there with a gentleman by the name of Waka Flocka, and he was talking about the same thing I just mentioned. He said he wished he knew that a long time ago, but once he found out, he now only invests in cash value life insurance. Your advisor, these musicians, rappers, artists, ball players, okay, the advisors will never tell them to go see a life insurance agent, because if they do, they know that it will now not make any sense for them to invest in their product. Because once you find out that I can invest money into something and end up paying no taxes when I withdraw, also I'm protected from a stock market loss. Also, if my family passed away, they're getting millions upon millions more than I ever put in, and your product don't offer that, why would they get your product? So listen, I want to clear that up with you guys. As you're watching this, if you stay with me this long, I know it's been a minute, and you're not a subscriber, please take a moment to subscribe. I drop a lot of gems, okay? Almost 2 decades worth of experience, okay? I've been around for 16 years. I've serviced over 3,000 plus clients. I've insured people with over $350 million worth of life insurance death benefit. This is all I do, all day, every day. I understand this product. I know this product. And I know nothing. I've seen it all. I've seen mutual funds. I've seen IRAs. I've seen annuity. I've seen stocks. I've seen mutual funds. I've seen CDs. Nothing at all can match it. This is a superhuman product. And again, people tend to run away from the things that's best for them. So listen, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like what you heard, please share. If you have any question, please comment. And if you're interested in my service, please feel free to contact me. My number, you could text me at 443-208-5480. And I say text me so that way I know what you're calling about, because people call me every single day. Okay? So if I know that you're a person who's truly interested, I'll call you ASAP. All right? So you can text me at 443-208-5480. That's 443-208-5480. 5480. And you can also go to my site if you don't want to text me and navigate through the site, look at some of the products that we offer, and then message me from there and let me know what your interests are. All right, and my site is my site is TitanEvolutionGroup.com. Okay, that's TitanEvolutionGroup.com. I'm gonna put my number and my website inside the description once I upload this, so that way you guys can have access to it. All right. Other than that, listen, you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. It is extremely nice out here today. So I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Talk to y'all soon.